Hello there. My name's Mark.
It was good. It was good.
I was just throwing you off with that one. I'm just going to keep her. No, I'm going to restart.
Please, no, do it. Do it. Roll with it, please.
Oh, roll with this? Okay, we're just going to keep
so.
going.
My
name's Mark. That was like my cheesiest hello there yet. I did not even attempt for an Obi-Wan impression, my usual, like, hello there. No, that was just me going straight ham because we haven't done this in a while. And so my name is Mark, a.k.a. the Canardian. You already heard from my favorite trusty co-pilot in all the galaxy, Charlie Carden. And we are joined once again by the Dark One himself, Peter Stine. Peter, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Excellent. Charlie, what about yourself?
Peter, put the mask back on. No, I'm good. I'm good. It's been weird. Mark, has it been a month since we've been on because of forces of nature?
It has been, yeah. So we try to get this show out every 2 weeks. And last time we did the kind of quick episode with Peter, just the recap of the D23 news. And then the apocalypse basically hit Hurricane Fiona.
Hurricaneopolis.
Yeah, it hit my little island. I was without power for a week and damage to the house and some other fun stuff. And we just, it just didn't really work. And that was
Yikes.
that. We were... we talked about maybe doubling up because I do this and then I do co-op mode on the off weeks, and we talked about like maybe doubling up or trying to get something in once I got power back. But it was such a hassle. Even once I got power back, I was still clearing trees and stuff from my property and my parents' property and my uncle's place. It's been a couple of weeks. So
bit of a mess, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess. There's still places that like there's trees down, there's roads inaccessible, there's sidewalks torn up. It's still not the best. So here we go. But I'm happy to be back. I'm happy you guys are joining us. And we promised last time that we'd get into Peter's Star Wars origin story. So let's dive right into that.
Let's do it.
It's been a month. People have been waiting
with bated breath.
I think so. And I have anyway. Like I hope our listeners have been as well. But so let's get in. Peter, how did you get into Star Wars?
Well, I am one of those born and bred Star Wars fans. My mom was amongst some of the first people to go see Episode 4 when it came out.
Awesome.
So like Star Wars has been in my blood forever. Hilariously,
like midichlorians, like that kind of blood.
Yeah, that kind. But hilariously, the first Star Wars movie that I ever saw in the theater, and I love to mention this because it throws some people off on how old I am, is the first Star Wars movie I saw in the theater was The Empire Strikes Back. But it was the special edition.
There's no way. I know you're
because that was me, but it was the real one in 1980. Yeah,
exactly. That's why I love to do it to throw them off because it was when the special editions were being released in the late 90s. And my dad took us to this little theater. I think it was up on Plainfield here. And it was, we're going to go see A New Hope because you guys are old enough to see that. We had been watching it at home, but Empire was too scary at that point. We got to the theater and A New Hope had ended its run the day before.
No!
My dad was like, screw it, we're seeing Empire. And so I got to see Empire and Jedi on the big screen for the very first time.
That's awesome.
I still have not seen A New Hope on the big screen though.
When are they ever gonna maybe bring those back?
Do that again?
Yeah, I mean it's been 25 years. You think when we hit the 50th for like A New Hope, so that's 5 years from now. Do you think they'll roll those out? I mean, I'd at least like to think it'd be possible.
I'd like to see it again, but you never know.
It'd be great.
They don't have the same George Lucas. I'm going to put everything back in the theater every couple of years.
Do you want to run the risk of more special edition, special editions?
Oh my goodness! Yes,
Lucas is back, and believe me, he's messing stuff up. We gave him the tools to all the CGI. Should be fun. I love those kind of dad moments. It's like, oh, you're definitely too young to see this. Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, we're going anywhere.
That was the 80s in general. With media.
Yeah, one that pops into my mind is Eraser. My dad and my uncle were just like, "You guys are probably too young to see this. Let's go see it." Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, oh man, great stuff. What was another one? Starship Troopers was another one.
Oh my god, that movie is just so,
that's intense.
That movie is comically violent. That'd be the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
it's like look at all the green goo.
Do you want to learn more? Click here.
By Doogie Howser.
Yeah. I'm watching How I Met Your Mother right now, or rewatching. I've watched it before, but speaking of Doogie Howser. Anyway, Peter, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Or show, series, favorite Star Wars thing. I really need to change that. I'm reading movie here, but what's your favorite?
My favorite Star Wars film would be Revenge of the Sith. I know prequels are slightly unpopular here, but Revenge of the Sith is my favorite there. If we're talking other media, the original Thrawn trilogy would be my favorite.
Excellent.
So what I don't think we're going to get into this in the news, but what do you think of the rumors of Tron's Tron?
Yes. Tron and Star Wars. I love it.
You just use that Northern Irish accent, Dublin accent. It's all good.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if you saw Lars Mikkelsen. There's heavy rumors this week that they actually hired him to play live action Thrawn.
Really?
He's the voice, of course.
I would be quite excited to see him as Thrawn since he did the voice. I'm a big fan of characters remaining consistent across media. Mm-hmm. But I do want to see live action Thrawn. I think that's kind of where they're gearing towards. So I'm excited to see when they play.
The rumor is he was cast as Thrawn live action for the Ahsoka series.
That would make sense.
Where that's going. They already casted Ezra.
Ezra's already been announced.
I mean,
so
she's looking for Thrawn. She asked about Thrawn.
Yeah, and like Ezra and Thrawn were last seen together, so it would make sense that there would be something about them.
Whales. That makes total sense.
The space
the
Virgil. Oh.
What is your favorite character? Is that Thrawn, or is it you're going somewhere else with this one?
Favorite character has always been a bit finicky for me because there's several that I really, really like. Thrawn may be my favorite character, but he's followed fairly closely by both Obi-Wan and Palpatine.
Okay.
If we go outside of canon, Kyle Katarn. But
okay, all right, yeah,
excellent,
awesome. Wearing the robes, being in the throne room as your background, everything. Throwing Obi-Wan in there, I thought you were going to go full dark side.
No, I really love Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I also really like my King of Camp, Sheev. So
Jar Jar, it's Palpatine.
What was your introduction to Kyle Katarn?
One of the first video games I ever played was the original Dark Forces. And then I remember I turned 9 or 10 and somebody got me Dark Forces 2 and played the shit out of that. I just love Kyle Katarn. I have the Moldy Crow on my desk. I love that character. I want to see him back. I do I know that they stuck a lot of stuff with him into Andor, which I'm sure I'll bring up when we talk about it. Yeah, he is one of my favorite, no longer canon characters. Just he's so interesting and has a whole lot of interesting stuff and gear.
Yeah,
love that ship. That is my favorite Star Wars ship, hands down. Nice. The Moldy Crow.
Nice, awesome. Okay, I think I know. You know what? I always say I think I know where you're going, and I never do. So, light side or dark side?
I think you can probably guess this one.
Well, I mean, you're wearing the outfit, but then you threw Obi-Wan and Kyle in there, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for most of the cool factor, the dark side. If you're to put me on who I think is right, the light side. Who would I actually root for? Yeah, who would I root for? The light side. But
you know who was right? The
else.
guy's killing children. Always right.
Yeah.
Genocide.
The Jedi wielding the Youngling Slayer 9000. Yeah, he's totally in the right.
Hey, look, you know what? People say you only like your own kids, but when you're, in that situation, I don't know.
I'm telling you, everyone seemed to get a kick out of Finn throwing a temper tantrum in Walmart because he couldn't take towels home with him today. I was the only one who wanted to murder a youngling in that situation. So, I felt a little dark side maybe. Nah,
back here in the States on the East Coast, they refer to it as murdering a yingling. That would be
yingling. Right.
It's a brand of beer from the East Coast. So that's what we call it when we go out and visit my mom, because she always had the fridge stocked with them. Murdering some yinglings.
That's probably better.
You just need a bottle opener that's shaped like Anakin's lightsaber.
Oh my god! Oh, right. There you go. Chop those heads off.
I would buy that.
Probably some goober who's made it, but I haven't seen one.
Like the lightsaber chopsticks. We're getting way off course.
A little bit.
Bringing it back, speaking of lightsabers, what's your lightsaber color of choice?
Probably green. Again, goes back to Kyle Katarn. It was his first lightsaber, was a green color, and then Luke. So I just like that color.
Luke and Gunji for me.
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah. I love green lightsabers. Although in like multiplayer in like Jedi Outcast, I would always run around as a stormtrooper with a red lightsaber just to scare people. So
it's very scary.
Just to scare people. I like it.
Yeah, mostly it's just weird. It's like there's a stormtrooper, here's a blaster. Now he's got a lightsaber. Die.
What's he gonna have next? Can opener. I don't know. How else is he gonna get out of this armor?
Yeah. Now, as a stormtrooper with a lightsaber, could you hit anything?
That's a good question.
Or is it just?
It doesn't take a whole lot of skill if you're just swinging baseball bat style. Mm-hmm. So you might be able to hit something, but kill it is a different story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the stormtrooper is like the kid that can't hit it even off the T-ball.
Yeah, keeps hitting the T.
They're just like, what the hell? Come on!
He'll hit your sleeve or like the coat. Like he'll hit you, but you won't die.
Just but a flesh wound. Favorite affiliation? This could be Jedi, Sith, bounty hunters, rebels. You want to hang with the Ewoks, the Wookiees. What's your favorite Star Wars, if you could just hang out with a group for a day?
If I could just hang out with a group for a day. That's actually a tough one. I think one of the ones that I would quite enjoy hanging out with, if you're around the right ones, is the Chiss Ascendancy.
Right. And why is that? Because I guess I don't know as much.
So the Chiss are this is going to make me sound like a snob, but the Chiss are they're fairly sophisticated culture, and they have a lot of tradition and
so they drink their wine like this.
Reasons what? Yeah, they all drink their wine like this.
Pinkies out, bitches. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like they have a whole lot of family history and family stories and traditions for why they do things, and so it'd just be really, really interesting to talk about how that works. And then you get to hang out with Thrawn. So.
Right. He seems
really Thrawn.
You're bringing Thrawn back for this one again.
He's the guy you seem like you want to have at your side at a party. Yikes. Mm-hmm. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Hey, if you read the books, he's great at art museums. Except he's sometimes irritating when he's like, "What do you think that this means?" "I don't know, Thrawn." What does this mean? Well, if you can... Yeah, it's really funny in the books.
You got a bit of that in the show, but the books, I guess.
Yeah, just a smidge here and there. So I'm hoping they'll bring that in a little bit, at least have maybe do kind of like how Heir to the Empire began, and your reveal is him sitting on the bridge of the Chimera and Pelion walks in and you see him looking at some art. Or maybe that's something they show a little bit later in the Ahsoka series. But they should do a scene like that to introduce that just as a tangential thing, so it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. I mentioned the only real news that I saw popping up was Lara's potential casting in Ahsoka. So I think we're going to skip straight to Andor unless you guys saw any pressing news that popped up. Anyone have anything this week? Well, I think we covered all the big stuff. It's been relatively quiet aside from the D23 stuff. So we've been focusing on Andor, which is great. And luckily, we have 5 episodes of Andor to catch up on.
We either have a lot to talk about or we have a little to talk about, and that
depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm stuck. Not to put the cart before the horse, is that I feel like we have too little to talk about with 5 of 12.
You will see the truths that we hold to depend greatly on our point of view.
Point of order, he's correct.
Absolutely. And we're going to do this pretty standard. We're not going to deep dive into each individual episode because I think that would be a much too long podcast. So, and there's definitely podcasts that do that. We're going to do kind of an overall on the first 5 just because I'm too lazy to catch up the right way, I guess.
Yeah, I thought, hey, can I watch these 5 episodes again?
I thought about that last night and then I was like, nah. No, I'm not going to.
I did not have time. I just replayed them in my brain.
Yes.
Yeah. That's basically I did that quick kind of like, what happened in this one? And I read the synopsis and that's it. So before we get into it, I am going to share some overall thoughts from Discord and Twitter. I put a little call out. On Discord, we had Todd Oxtra shared.
Wait, wind it up. Here we go.
Labeled this Todd's bad take. So full disclosure, also full spoilers. Nothing's being held back. So if you haven't watched Andor yet, now's the time to dip out, pause the episode, come back when you have. Share your thoughts in Discord or send me some stuff on Twitter, and we're going to keep going with the shows. But this is the stopping point. So you've been warned. So Todd's bad take. I gave up halfway through episode 5 when the nagging mother and Mon Mothma's dysfunctional family was the most exciting thing to happen. Basic, flat characters just don't grab me. I really loved Rogue One, but they made every minute count.
Rogue One is a great movie.
I absolutely hate to agree with Todd because he's such a cynic, but damn.
Let me read a couple more and then we'll share our thoughts as well and see if we agree with Todd, and there's some other people that agree with him. So Jedi Sean gave that one a thumbs up. So it seems like he agrees in Discord as well. And then AJ Paz Alex wrote in, I was really excited for this series, but for some reason I just can't get into it. Only halfway through episode 3, but I'm forcing myself to watch this and I don't know why. Ouch. And it's weird because I usually keep right up to date with Marvel and Star Wars shows. I would say it's because of Fiona, but I'm all caught up on She-Hulk, Rings of Power, Werewolf by Night, Game of Thrones, and even oh Jesus, Alex, even the Mighty Ducks season 2.
Oh boy. Woo!
I didn't even know there was a Mighty Ducks season 1.
If there's connective tissue between all of those, I am missing it. But hey,
so basically, unfortunately, just indifferent. The only other Disney show I felt this way was Moon Knight. I loved Moon Knight, but
I haven't actually watched Moon Knight. Should probably do that.
I thought Moonlight was good. It could have been better, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, that I think that's a great way to tee it up. It was okay, but it could have been better. Didn't really like. Oh, I got to watch Moon Knight.
That's a lot of things. So.
Yeah,
over on Twitter, Scarlett, aka @Scarlett_stream, shared, "This is how you do a suspenseful show without making it drag. Diego Luna is a great actor. The CGI is pretty awesome, and it seems there are good practical effects as well. I'm really enjoying the political side of things too, but wish it had more context to Mothma, or wish I had more context to Mon Mothma's relationships."
That's fair.
Fair take, I think. Not quite as poo-poo as the other two. And finally, we got Louis One Kenobi @DinsJaren327. We love the suspense. I think that's exactly how a lot of people in the galaxy felt at that time. Uneasy and suspicious of everything. Never knowing what could happen to them, but still taking the risks because getting caught or killed still isn't as bad as being under the Empire's thumb.
That's a decent take.
Not a bad take.
Yeah, nice.
So overall, you guys seem to resonate with both Todd and Alex a little bit, but also some fair takes over on Twitter. Peter, I'm going to start with you. Overall,
I'm actually fine with it. I like it. I do.
Oh
think
my God!
It is...
Did he say he was fine with it? Is Todd here? That's Todd's. you know how I was talking about new catchphrase merch? That's Todd's number one catchphrase. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Peter, yours moreover on Code 47, and if you don't know, Todd or Peter is one of my two co-hosts over on our Star Trek show, which is Code 47. Peter's more like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's definitely a slow burn, and after the first episode, I was like, yeah, I understand why they released it in 2 instead of just the 1 by itself, because there's a couple episodes where you're sitting there going like, you're like poking it with a stick, like,
come on,
can you do something?
Star Wars.
Like I enjoy what they're doing, but there are a few moments where it's just like, okay, like maybe move on a little bit. Like sometimes the flashbacks lasted just a touch too long, and I know some of that is just like cinematography and how you do stuff. Like I don't begrudge them that, but sometimes the pacing is just a little wonky at points for me. But I like how they're portraying Cassian. I'm sure we'll get some more backstory as time goes on a little bit. I think maybe they're leaning a little bit too much into the backstory flashbacks, like with Book of Boba Fett. With Book of Boba Fett, it worked. I think that this, like, don't lean on that too much, because Star Wars has never really been known for that. Well, and I know that, like, the shows are doing things differently anyway, but it's just
the first
Star Wars usually works like in always in motion the future is, and the past is set. Your focus should be on the present.
I mean, the first flashback they ever had was in The Last Jedi, when Luke was flashing back about when Kylo Ren turned. That was it. That was 5 years ago in the parlance of storytelling. So everything that came before, you nailed it on the head, was living, never at the expense of the living force. It was in the moment.
Never at the expense of the present, my young Padawan. Yes.
Point of order, correct.
So, but overall, I'm liking it. I'm liking the look. I'm liking the feel. I'm liking that they're able to kind of establish how the Empire works without being heavy-handed in there's stormtroopers everywhere.
We haven't even seen a one. I don't think.
We haven't seen. We've seen the ISB, which I really appreciate. I quite like that.
Probably.
I did sit there when they were first like, it's the ISB. I was like, are they going to try to CGI Yularen? I hope not. I mean, I want to see him, but it might be weird.
just the back of his head.
It's like,
or somebody will be talking. They'll be talking to him off camera. What do you think, Admiral? But okay.
Yeah, because like,
there you go.
Like obviously the actor who played Colonel Yularen isn't with us any longer, because he was a little bit older when the original film came out, and I believe the voice actor who voiced Yularen had something happened and he's not able to do much anymore.
Ouch. The role is cursed.
So it would be difficult to bring that character in, which is why you have the other director whose name is escaping me. But I like the use of the ISB. That's fun. And I like how you have the corpos using like discount Republic drop ships. So
did they go to a used lot somewhere? They offloaded them because they have the chop fields, kind of like the one that you find Bill Burr's character in.
Or where Cal Kestis is.
I was just going to say, man, it got big Cal Kestis vibes on that one.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking when they first were like, "Oh, it's a junk planet." I was like, once they panned out, I was starting like, "Where's the Venator? Where's the Venator? Where's the Venator?" I didn't see one, but I was looking for one.
Oh, it's there. It's going to be there.
Yeah, I really thought they were going to do some little Easter egg, some little tease of like, this is the same planet, or this is or whatever. It was like I was looking for,
or it's another Republic dumping ground, but it's not. Oh well. made me think of it, made me smile briefly. So
there'll be junkyards in your future. Don't worry about it.
It's Star Wars. There's always a junkyard.
Always junk. Yes.
Onto your point about like the pacing and the first 2 episodes releasing as a drop and then it being weekly afterwards. When I was talking actually this evening to my wife about this episode and recording and talking to you guys, and I was getting a few of those responses back through Twitter and Discord. I mentioned to her like how some people were feeling, and I said like I don't really feel differently. Like I kind of feel like the pacing's off. It's a little slow. It's a little it's different. It's weird.
I mean, slow burns are great, but
it is, and it can be.
It depends on how the burn is.
Right, but yes, but the pacing can't be non-existent. Exactly.
I wonder if this would have been better as a here they all are. Watch them as, or at least in chunks. Because the episode 5, man, it took me 2 days to get through. I'll be honest, that was tough. My mind flitted off, and I was like, no, I need to pay attention to this for the show.
I know, to put my phone down. It's hard sometimes.
No, that was it. I was looking at my phone, and I had my Switch, and then I'm looking at my Quest, and I'm like, you know what? I'd rather go in VR right now. And I like played Beat Saber and some Star Wars stuff in there because it was more exciting. And I was just like, I can't do Andor right now. Like, this is just boring the hell out of me, and I have to focus. And there was nothing there. It took me 2 days to get through the damn episode, maybe 3 actually.
And you're talking about the first 3 episodes, or just the first episode?
No, just the 5th, just the last one,
the most recent one.
It was.
The first 3 were awesome. I was in the first 2 especially. Like I was just in. I watched them back to back. It was like watching a movie. I was ready to go. And like kind of kept pace, and then 5 dropped, and it was just like, no, I can't get into this episode at all. And there were a few moments that were like, I get what they're doing, and I got what they were doing overall, or I think I get what they were doing overall, which was like most of the time in Star Wars, you see, all right, here's the big thing. Here's the plan. We're going to blow it up. You see? All right, let's go.
Yeah, see? Yeah. Pew, pew, pew.
Blow it up. Here's the thing. There's a thing here. You shoot that thing, and it goes.
This one's doing like.
Or to quote the Lego movie, we're going to take the thing and put it in the other thing.
That's
there you go.
100%. And that's usually how Star Wars goes, and usually how most action movies go. But like real wartime strategy, especially this kind of guerrilla warfare, it's practice, it's repetition, it's planning, it's methodical. It takes months. It takes a long time to really think things out. It's showing that part of warfare, and it's very realistic.
Yeah, I think you could probably, I haven't watched the whole thing, but perhaps it would be more apt to compare this to something like Band of Brothers, where it does stuff, but it's more focused on like the characters and what they're doing and that sort of thing. Because I remember I watched like the first couple episodes of Band of Brothers, and you're just doing training, like that's what you're doing, and if that's not what you're expecting, it's going to be a little boring. But
and I think that might have been my problem. I was expecting this to be more of an underworld thriller, heisty kind of rebellion of like, okay, here's the secret mission of the week. We're gonna here's Andor being sketchy this week. Where's he gonna go next?
I mean, that's kind of what it sounded like from a lot of the pitches, and I think that's why why a lot of us are kind of like, this isn't what I was expecting, because they were like, oh, it's going to be a war series, and we're expecting, some of that stuff from Rogue One, where they're like doing dastardly escapes, and like what we've seen in Rebels and the Clone Wars with Saw Gerrera up to his shenanigans. I mean, we'll see him in this show. He's in the trailer, so like he's going to be in it at some point. But like, seeing like what people were expecting was something more like Rebels, where we're going to have like the rebellion doing rebellion things, and then we might get some of the politics on the side. Whereas this is heavy into the world building on why the rebellion came to be.
Right.
Which, I mean, for me is kind of I could go or take or leave it, because I watched all of the deleted scenes from episode 3, so I know how they originally was going to get started. But
oh, really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you have the special features on the episode 3 DVD release or the digitals, there's like 4 scenes with Bail.
I thought you were, no, I've seen that. I thought for some reason you were talking about this, and I'm like,
no, not this.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that because it's Bail and Padme and her and the character played by George Lucas's daughter sitting around talking about, and it's it's very George Lucasy. It's like, what we should talk about is an organization of rebelling of some variety. I mean, it's just like very like, Lucas.
I mean, I liked the scenes, but
Lucas's
I'm a
fingerprints
guy. So.
I know, and we like you anyway. We still let you in the door. As
I have said before, I'm not a rose-tinted glasses guy when it comes to prequels. I know they have
no. Beer goggles, not rose-tinted glasses. Beer goggles. It's like I drank a pack of Labatt Blue, little Canadian shout out. That's what I grew up drinking, and now I'm going to watch the prequels. And I'm like, this is art. I'm just kidding.
Charlie, what are your thoughts overall?
Oh my goodness! I like literally. Everybody else was like, "Oh my God, Andor, Rebel stuff!" Blah, 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 blah. And it was funny because I just 2 weeks ago finally went out and got my Rebel Alliance tattoo. So I'm all about Rebels. The Rebel space is where I live. And I did realize, of course, that the setting of this 5 years prior to A New Hope, meaning also obviously 5 years and 1 hour prior to Rogue One, and just being very teed up for how are we going to jump into the mix? What's Cassian doing? It's 5 years and he's a Rebel, Alliance captain with Rebel intelligence by the time of Rogue One. So what is he getting into? Is he did they recruit him? Is he doing stuff? And we're 5 episodes in, and I think I said both Todd, obviously, who we've heard from, and our other roommate John are like, this show is just killing me. It's so goddamn boring. They just, Mark, you said you loved the first 3 episodes, but I'm like, I have no illusions about why they dropped all these on the same day, because if they dropped the first episode, I don't think they would bring people back for the second one, because it just didn't. If there was a ball, it went boop, and then 2 was boop, and then 3 was like boop.
And I maybe shouldn't have said I was excited going into those.
Going into it. Yes.
Well, and I was even excited watching it because I was like, okay, we're seeing Andor's start. We're seeing him. He's gonna go off planet, and that's when the shit's gonna hit the fan.
Right.
Okay, let's go. And it was like they're introducing some cool characters and a little bit of deceit and like normal everyday things like a jealous boyfriend and that kind of like stuff.
Right.
And I was enjoying like Bix and what's a B2 emo droid, right? Like,
how come he didn't have the dark makeup and like the little circles around his eyes
and like spikies,
the little wispy hair? Be like, hey, whatever, man. He needed to be a lot more aloof to really be an emo droid. Let's face it.
Absolutely. I mean, he did, every once in a while, just kind of like die for a little while.
That's true. He always needed to recharge. If you're recharging in the hallway again, I'm going to be really mad.
Oh my God! Oh God!
I liked that kind of stuff, right? Like I liked the like seeing. For me, it was like seeing those seeds of like, yeah, the Empire's really knocked everyone down. Their tech's dying. Their droids are in shambles. They're living here. Everyone's kind of going around like seedy in secret, kind of sneaking this way and that way. I was excited to see that. And then they slowly but quickly killed that for me. I guess. It was like, come on, do something. Like you said.
I mean, they teed up the home planet. They teed up the female character, and yank, she's got. Is he going back? Are we going to see her again? I mean, they gave her an action figure already, but then they gave action figures to a bunch of characters in Kenobi that got killed too. So having an action figure means absolutely nothing. Because again, the people who are real figureheads are just like, oh, I gotta have them all. But I'm not really one of those anymore. And as you can tell, our friend John is not either. That's why I have $4,000 worth of his action figures in my garage right now. I'm not giving you my address.
Over there.
Don't drive your car into my garage door so you can steal those figures. That's why I'm not giving out my address.
If there be clones, I'd be looking at the clones.
Oh, I do have many clones, so we will perhaps be doing some transactions. Don't bring your thermal detonator. But it was just it dragged ass, and I'm like, okay, well, we spent some time with these characters. We found out that certain ones of them are terrible. The Corpo sector, you had Johnny Eager Beaver, who got knocked down a peg because he had his little covert operation, which didn't need to happen at all. And because of that, the Corpo is now completely shut down, and he lost his job. Now he's back living. Now he's basically Norman Bates. How long before his mother? Basement, yeah. How long before his mother ends up in a rocking chair as a skeleton?
Yeah. That's blue corn pops.
Oh my God, that's what we're going to see in.
I like when blue milk is used as an Easter egg. This was a little bit too much for me.
The bloodles.
It was like I'm just staring at blue kicks and blue milk, and it's just like, this is so weird.
Makes you think of
like the scene. I was trying to pay attention to the scene, but the blue kicks and the blue milk were just distracting me the whole time.
That's why you got to tee up Eiffel 65, beginning of Iron Man 3 with blue.
Yep.
So, random thing, you said you did the pistol motion. That reminds me, Andor's weapon is the Briar pistol that Kyle Katarn carries in the video games. That's nice. The Kyle Katarn connection that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and even though this show itself is lighter on Easter eggs, we did get some really nice ones. And Stellan Skarsgård, don't ask me to remember the name of his character. His Lucian, his cover on Coruscant. Or rather, his cover for the rebellion, of which he's covertly working with Mon Mothma, is that he's an antiquities dealer, and his antiquities room is great. What did we get? We got the Shankara stones in there, which I love, from Indiana Jones, another Indiana Jones connection. And then Peter, we also got
Carbonite, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a whip in Carbonite, wasn't there?
I think you're right. What a weird thing to put in Carbonite. It's not alive. Why do you have to freeze it? But we got something. I was watching some of these. We also got, wasn't there some kind of armor set or something?
There was an armor set from Force Unleashed.
There you go.
A Sith assassin armor set. There were holocrons, and there were a set of stones of the Mortis gods.
Very nice. I like it. So overall, again, Mark, I'm kind of with you. Episode 5 was the worst yet. Because it was nothing but, and Todd and I were talking about this earlier in the week, it's nothing but talking. I don't think anything of interest happened in that episode at all. Because, you had you had Norman Bates being browbeaten by his mother. You had basically the dick swinging contest at the camp, like, and Andor's like, hey, man, whatever, man. That's not my thing, dude.
I'm getting paid, all right?
Yeah, okay. He's so short with everybody, and everything he says is so clipped. He's like, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes back to what he's doing. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the things that might be throwing us all for a loop is there's one line that he says in Rogue One very vehemently. I have been in this fight since I was 6 years old. And I at least am not getting that from him right now.
Yeah, because it really looked like, to jump back to episodes 1 and 2, the flashbacks, he lives on some backwater shithole that ends up being basically a condemned imperial mining operation.
It's the Lost Boys.
Yeah, and he's exactly.
And girls.
Lord of the Flies, and he's living with this group of people. An alien vessel crashes. Some of the people survive, and one or two of his people get killed in the melee as they're looking to get in there and basically check it out and loot it. But what really happens is that basically a husband and wife duo come along and discover Cassian or Cassa inside, smashing things up and kind of going nuts, and they have to they conk him over the head or whatever it is and carry him out of there because they're like, well, Republic troops are coming and they're going to kill everyone. I'm like, why are they going to do that? that kind of went over my head. I'm like,
they do.
Okay, I thought the Republic were the good guys.
So I got a little confused by that, with everyone saying it was the Republic. The logos on everyone's jackets made me think the Separatists, because the logo was more similar to that.
But
the tech was all Republic, so it was a little confusing for me because there were no droids, so obviously it's not the Separatists.
Right.
But the logo looked like the Separatists, which was just odd.
Yeah, because if he's 6 years old, so that's putting this. This is putting this pre the Separatist Civil War, because if he's, so this is 5 years before Yavin, he's maybe 20, 25 years old. So if you peel 25 years backwards from 15 years after essentially episode 3.
Yeah, we're talking like right around Phantom Menace.
Yeah, exactly.
If not a little before.
So it's not even the dawn of the Count Dooku and the Separatist movement. It's in the middle of the whole Trade Federation and Chancellor of Valorum and blah blah blah. So why is the regular Republic, regular troops out there just killing people who get in a crash? Oh, you crashed! Pew pew pew! I didn't quite get that.
I mean, to do it like a little bit of a deep dive, like they did, that what it reminded me of, the whole thing was, and I keep referencing this character, but it reminded me of the Nogri home planet in the Thrawn trilogy, where a ship crashed and then released a toxin because the characters came out and they were dying of some sort of poison gas. Like you saw the discoloration, they were wearing gas masks. The ground looked a little bit damaged, obviously from the fire, but also from some other chemical.
Okay.
So that's what it reminded me of that, like maybe they're carrying some sort of biological weapon or chemical that was for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, but again,
still the reasoning isn't there.
So kind of filling in the blanks is that's not really a great way to go, because then you're left questioning like, well, why are they going to kill him? So yeah, you're right. So it doesn't suggest that if he was not 6 years old when that was happening. So at what point does I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old go on? Because from age 10 or whatever up to age 20 or 25, which is when the series started, he's just basically hustling. He's hustling his way around.
Stealing some stuff from the Empire here and there, but he's not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, he's stealing stuff to resell it. He doesn't have any noble intentions. He's a street urchin.
They kind of did with him what they this might be a little controversial, what they should have done with Solo. How Solo should have been a little bit more dodgy or iffy in the beginning, instead of being like, I'm an optimistic, bright-eyed, happy person who's a good guy. And so I think that they may have been leaning with that, because after Solo came out, a lot of people were saying like he wasn't scoundrelly enough, and so they might be leaning into that too much, maybe.
Right. I mean, he just kind of seemed, well, he was kind of king of the street rats in Solo. And he's like, well, I just really want to get out of here with my girl, and and that's kind of where he was at. But yeah, you're right. He didn't seem as grizzled or as cynical as obviously we saw the character as he became Harrison Ford. And there's the difference of about 7 or 10 years between the end of Solo and I think episode 4. So that gave him chance to, turn into Harrison Ford, I guess, and get grumpier. But I don't want to go on a total sidebar and talk about Solo, but I thought it was great.
I'm just saying, like, there may have been some comparison there.
But regardless, I'm not optimistic right now, unfortunately, because again, while episodes 1, 2, and 3 dragged, but it took us, I could say, okay, well, I know why we got 3 at once. We needed to get him from the point where he's just, he's Aladdin on the streets, just basically doing his whatever, to when Lucian comes along and says, hey, do you really want to do something that makes a difference? And he's like, fuck no. Oh, look, here's all the bad guys trying to blow us up. I'll go with you. That's cool. And then he's leaving the planet and getting back to, dirtball number 1, planet where we're going to pull a heist. And I'm like, all right, it's a heist thing. But then we have it's not like, okay, he shows up and let's get into the heist. No, let's have an episode where everybody, again, it's a dick swinging contest, office politics, everybody's bitching at each other, interspersed with a B story of Norman Bates and his mother, of the guy who got fired from Corpo. And it's like, how is it all going to come together? And so, again, we've seen space battles in the trailers. We've seen Saw Gerrera in the trailers, but my God, we're taking a long time to get there. Tomorrow.
How many episodes do they have? 12?
12, and a total of 24 in 2 seasons, which obviously will get the second season.
I mean, they'll be able to do. My guess is the pace will pick up after the attack on this facility,
but it's
going to go sideways in probably the worst way possible.
But again, my question is, and I put myself in the unenviable position of being in alignment with my cynical partner Todd Oxtra, but why is it taking so long? What's the payoff for it dragging out so long? That if it was going to be this slow, why isn't this series 8 episodes or 10? Why is this the longest Disney Plus Star Wars program so far, if they appear to be just absolutely just burning it like a wad of cash? I don't get it. I don't know why I don't know why it's so slow. I don't feel like there's payoff. And for, Todd is the best example for someone who is a more cynical Star Wars fan, someone who's like, well, they're not really giving me content that's really firing my imagination. Are people checking out? Are people like, well, maybe I'll catch up with Andor when it's done, or maybe I'll just read something about it? But
that's kind of how I've been experiencing people talking about it.
Yeah. So I think they I think that Disney has put themselves in a bad spot with this. And I just don't know how it's going to pay off in a timely enough fashion that people aren't going to start to give up sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for this show, like, the Holocron Chronicles, if it wasn't for this podcast, I think I'd be waiting until this was all done.
Right.
And just kind of binging through it and seeing if it paid off, or at least hearing like, oh yeah, there's a payoff. Okay, cool. But now we're the ones that are going to be like, oh yeah, there's a payoff. You should probably binge these, maybe skip episode 5 because nothing happens.
Right.
And then go through and watch, the episodes, whatever, 9, 10, 11, 12, or where the action happens or whatever.
Right.
Like,
it's just but then, and you're absolutely right. It could turn out to be exactly that. But again, I keep coming, and Peter, you'll appreciate this as a student of philosophy. My question gets to be, why? Why is it so necessary to wank our way through 5 episodes so that episode 6 has a big, cool space heist and shit's going on and blah, blah. And then, then Cassian ends up on Coruscant, and that's when he meets Mon Mothma and he gets into the Rebels. Or, maybe they're stealing this because they're delivering it to Saw Gerrera, and so then he's working with Saw. Even though I'm trying to remember from Rogue One that he didn't have a lot of familiarity with Saw.
He's not familiar with Saw.
Yeah,
he said we know where to find him, but we don't have a way in. So he shouldn't have too much interaction with Saw.
Right. But it's just like, let's not forget through 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, they still managed to not put Anakin and General Grievous in the same place because they'd never met before in episode 3.
You're shorter than I imagined.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. They really had to work the shit out of that one.
Which I appreciated. The attention to detail.
Right. I was just going to say, the attention to detail I know it's better than, but for a cartoon to go through that attention to detail and dance and tiptoe around this thing for one throwaway line, you would think something with a big budget and a lot of hype behind it like this would have paid attention to a line like I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Right.
When the first couple of episodes throw that out.
Right.
And it's okay, well, how did a friggin' kids cartoon that was, again, I loved it, but cartoon for all intents and purposes.
Right.
How have they done a better job at lore than this? And
does Andor have Filoni involved at all? I don't think it does.
No, I think it's really Tony Gilroy, is it, who is writer/director.
At this point, my general rule is if Filoni is involved, you're going to have attention to canon. And if he's not, then it's kind of hit or miss.
It's going to be a little willy-nilly.
Which is why, anyway.
Right.
I think that most things need a a rules lawyer, basically, to just like you don't always have to listen to them, but you need a rules lawyer.
Yeah, 8.5, 6,
like with stuff made from books. The joke is we need someone with a book who just walks up to the director and hits them with the book. It's like that's not in there.
No, sorry.
Like seriously, Wheel of Time and Rings of Power needed that, and that's different.
I like the idea of Filoni just taking his hat off quickly to whip people with it.
He takes that little
that's what he
has imprint in your forehead.
That's what he has under the head is a whip.
Ooh, I like it. Yep, I was thinking
that's where it was. That's why it's in carbonite, because they're like, we can't deal with this anymore.
Right. That's Filoni's whip. That's why it's in carbonite. Oh my God.
I do want to get onto a good note and end this show at least on somewhat of a good note. So I'm going to ask if there's any standout characters that you guys really are enjoying so far. That's hopefully going to make you stick around. Anything for you, Peter? We'll start there.
Standout characters. I mean, I want to know a little bit more about Lucian.
That's
so
where
I want to know what's his deal. Where did he come from? Why is he doing his thing? His assistant clearly knows about as much as he does. Like they're a tag team. So I want to know what's up with that. Because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, wait, his character's in Rogue One. It's like, wait, no, he's not. Never mind. So I just want to know what this character is, what he's doing. The other characters haven't really jumped out at me too much. I mean, obviously I want to see what happens with Cassian, but he needs to, have a little bit more presence to make me want to know more. But Lucian really got your attention and were like, I want to know more about this guy from the get-go. Maybe it was just how they framed him, how they used him, but he's pretty good. Yeah. I do want to see a little bit more about Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Because I like the character because of the legacy. I'm not terribly certain what they're doing with her right now.
Yeah. Are they teeing it up that she's like, well, I'm kind of doing my thing, but then my family gets killed. Oh, but I don't like my husband anyway because he's an asshole, and my daughter's a little word I'm not going to use. Her family sucks. So maybe.
I was just gonna say I can't wait to hear just watch her slap her husband and walk out.
Yeah,
slap both of them like the Three Stooges. Boop boop boop.
Yeah, it does seem like there's kind of and something that I've always wanted to see a bit more is and I think I mentioned this last time maybe, but I've always wanted to see the stories of people who disagree about the Empire. There's people who actually believe in what the Empire stands for, not the evil that we as the audience understand it to actually be, but they believe the propaganda. They think that it's a good thing. And it's visible from the husband that seems to be where he's falling, which seems a little weird based on who Mon Mothma is and where she's from, but just for character interest things, I'm curious to see how that works out, because I've always wanted to see a character who believes in what the Empire is and doesn't pull a Callus. I want this person to stay with the Empire. Don't pull a Callus, don't pull a Versio. Commit to the Empire and what you believe it to be. I want a Thrawn, I want a Pelion. That's what I want to see. And I'm hoping that they'll that's something that I'm also interested in seeing, is that potential conflict.
I like that. And I've said it on the show before that I wonder where could Star Wars go next. I think the Emperor is defeated, right? And I've said it before that is there a version of the Star Wars galaxy where there was something good that he did, where through all his taking over everything, but was there
a larger plan?
Was there something worse that he was holding back? Was he protecting the galaxy from something by being the big bad? Is there another big bad that he was holding back?
Yeah. While there was power, was there something mildly altruistic about Palpatine? Yeah.
Right. Because he had the power and control, was he at least keeping things a little bit in check? And was there someone, and to your point, I guess, is there someone that sees that and believes in it and can look past, they're doing some evil shit, but at least there's some control. At least there's some.
Yeah. And I know
they're keeping the pirates out and they're doing this and they're doing with the
old EU, that was kind of the idea, was the Empire was a stabilizing force, and then also like you also had the books with like the Yuuzhan Vong and the Emperor was like specifically keeping them out, but that's not canon anymore. But like,
but it could
who
be.
knows? But again, Zahn is still alluding to something with the newest Thrawn trilogy, the Ascendancy books. So I mean, who knows?
Right.
That may come back as some sort of detail. But yeah, like there's something good about the Emperor. How do people believe in it? So that is something I was hoping to be addressed.
Yeah, right.
And it would be interesting.
Charlie, you kind of feel the same way? Same.
I think Lucian is the only thing in this that is that kind of is a blip on the radar. Who is he? Where did he come from? Why is he doing this? How did he and Mothma get connected? What's his end game? Where's all this going? So I would say that there's some mild, that there's some mild interest in that, and I like your thought. What extra wrinkle? What's a corner that they're going to put on this overall interaction that's going to bring something different into play? Because again, when you prequel thing, your stakes are lower or almost non-existent. And even with this, we did a prequel that everybody was great, but then all those characters at the end died, but now they've dialed it backwards and he's alive again. So what are they going to do to make it new or noteworthy? And the problem is they're not really doing that right now. And again, all my questions come down to why is this 12 episodes instead of 8? Why are there 2 seasons of 12 episodes? What's the end game? What's really gonna blow your mind so that it's significant and you could say, okay, now I understand. But couldn't have they done better than giving us the 5th episode? We're all collectively going, looking at my watch being like, oh dude, is this over yet? So that's just not where you want to be at with this. So, we got episode 6 coming on in the morning. We watch it first thing around here. It'll probably be the big whiz bang, heist. Hopefully they don't drag that into 2 episodes and then there's a reduced payoff. I guess I'm trying to keep it positive, but
you don't want him to pull Battlestar.
My bar is I don't want it to be New Caprica. So the bar is super duper low at this point. Mark, by the way, has not watched Battlestar, which was filmed in his very own country. It's practically a Canadian show. Mark,
guilty as charged.
Timo Pennicat wants you to watch Battlestar Galactica. That's all I'm saying.
I've only seen the new one. I haven't seen the old one. So.
No, I'm talking about the new one. Yeah, no, Peter and I are big fans. Okay. So, Mark, someday it's on Peacock. So, yeah, please, someday, please. Maybe you guys don't have Peacock. No,
I don't think so. I have Paramount.
Oh, okay.
It's not on there.
I don't have Peacock.
I thought there was
just watching Sonic 2 on. I was like, something starts with a P, but it's Paramount.
Oh, yes, there you go. All right, someday, some way, if it's ever available to you, I would highly recommend it. One of the best non-Star Trek sci-fi series out there. But anyway,
I do have to say, aside from Luthen being incredibly interesting, and I love the little like I'm getting into character, and it's like an actor playing someone.
Yeah, like putting the wig, like that whole thing. Getting to Coruscant was really great.
I love that detail, so great. There's been little bits and pieces, and aside from him, I have to say I had a slight crush on Bix, and want to see more of her.
Which one was Bix? Was she the one on the first planet?
Yeah.
I
thought she was adopted.
Not really his girlfriend, but
who's
the mechanic who I first mistook for his sister, and then not.
Exactly. But whose boyfriend was a real dum dum who managed to get himself killed. So
that girl. Yeah, she was great. You just kind of any favorite? I think this may be where we'll finish this off. But any favorite scenes, moments, shots, interesting things? We just mentioned Luthen kind of getting into characters is kind of a standout for me, and even like Peter, you said like his shop was so littered with things. Plo Koon's mask.
There you go.
Stood out for me. That was one of the big ones, and the like holocrons in the background and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't notice the mask. It got pointed out to me later, but I noticed all the other things on the shelves.
So there's with that. There's again those like weird little like character moments. The only standout bit of episode 5 that I can really say is one so far is the speech of like relying on technology and like I can fix this, and we're too reliant on stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, I can, like, how much stuff can I fix in my house? Like, like
Right.
I can fix like a toilet if that breaks, but like if my TV breaks, I'm just buying a new TV, because it's not like I can go and fix that. I used to take my laptops and stuff apart, and now it's like, like you look at my iPad and it's like I can't even get that apart without smashing the 13.
I mean, I can take it apart, but there's a point where you can't really fix it because it's a transistor that's like this big.
Right? So it's like, yeah, okay, I get that. There are moments of like brilliance in this show. I loved the just the drama of the dude with the wake up.
Oh, the bell. That was pretty cool.
Very, very neat. Just those kind of moments I thought were really great. And like the world building overall, this isn't done in the volume. This is sets. This is real stuff. And I wish Mando would do that a little bit more. And like,
yeah, I mean, I do appreciate that Mando can go to more weird places.
Right.
Like I'm very happy that they have that capability, but the practical sets do allow for more of that lived in feel, I think.
Right.
And the characters suddenly are, because the actors react to it better because it's actually there and they can touch it.
Right. And it seems to fit more of the gruff and tumble shell game kind of hustler lifestyle or vibe, the vibe of the lifestyle that is part of this show. So
something that I also liked, like shot wise, scene wise, I actually quite liked, and I know it's kind of like a tiny detail. I liked I think he was Khan, the eager beaver corpo officer, where he's like going around in his montage of trying to figure out where Cassian was, and then organizing his strike force. Seal Kern. Okay. Similar sound.
Corn. I'm gonna call him Corn.
K-A-R-N is Corn spelling.
So like I liked how that was phrased, and especially the scene with him and his supervisor, when the supervisor is just like, under the rug.
Yeah, dude, don't worry about it. It's all bullshit.
Like that was just a very, very well done character scene.
Yeah,
like that one. Like, did it have a whole lot of bearing on much? Not really, but it did set up for what Karn was up to. And I just thought that was really, really well done. I also enjoyed the stuff with the ISB. It may be because I have a bias towards the Empire and that sort of stuff, and I like seeing that. But I thought that was fairly well handled. And the drop ships showing up on the planet. That particular shot with them coming over you, that was a really cool,
right? Of the few really cool Star Warsy visuals that we got in what was otherwise
and I also quite enjoyed Lucian coming out of hyperspace, and then you see the ship actually have to reorient itself to the planet. That was a cool touch because we've only seen that in episode 2. And that was just cool.
Wow,
good deal, awesome. Oh, so we have episode 6 tomorrow. So, Mark, when we come back, we'll be doing 6 and 7 and 8. I don't know. Hopefully, something will have picked up by then.
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, by the time we record. Yeah. So we'll 6 and 7 next time. By the time, people basically can, depending on when you watch and when you listen, I'm hoping to drop this episode. We're recording Tuesday night. I'm hoping to drop this tomorrow, so Wednesday. So people will be listening to this Wednesday and having, if you're like Charlie, you've already watched the latest episode, and if you're like me, you'll probably listen to this first and then watch the latest one. But whatever order you're doing that in, I would love people to share their thoughts on Andor. With us on Twitter, or especially on Discord. And we have an Andor spoiler friendly zone on Discord if you're worried about that kind of thing. So it's a safe place to share all your spoiler filled thoughts.
And Andor's safe place. That's just what you should call it. Andor Safe Space.
Andor's. I'm going to change the name to Andor's Safe Space.
That's what autocorrect always does whenever I'm talking to you guys. I'm like, it changes it to
/or. I'm always slightly confused at first, and then I'm like, Charlie's talking through Siri again.
There we go. That's my life, being in the car.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good wrap up, fellas. 5 episodes. We're a little over an hour at this point, but like, that's pretty good. We've done longer shows on shorter things. Like,
yes, definitely. There was a lot to pack in, but there should have been a lot more. But yes, as we're now, soon to be halfway through the season, let's hope the back half makes the somewhat indeterminable front half worth the journey.
Yes,
absolutely. I mean, maybe it'll pull an Obi-Wan and make everything make sense towards the end.
Yes.
So
I just wish
like the first couple episodes for Obi-Wan for me were very like, what is up with this Inquisitor lady? She's so super intense for some reason.
So cranky.
Made sense after you've seen the rest of it,
right?
So maybe they'll do that.
Chopping up those Yinglings.
That's it. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. You are a wealth of information. You rhymed off some names very, very quickly from like obscure characters that I was incredibly impressed with all through.
I know too much random crap. Just ask Charlie on Code 47.
Oh my gosh.
All sorts of obscure crap.
Indeed, we yes. Peter and I are eye to eye on the program that we run about talking about Star Trek, without a doubt.
My grade, where was it? Grade 8 art teacher, who was an elderly British lady, looked at me once and said, "You're just an encyclopedia of useless information." And that was like the biggest compliment she could ever give me. So anyone else would
madam.
I was just kind of like, oh, thanks. That's great.
I often self-identify as a fount of useless information.
I like it. The fount and the encyclopedia is always mine. So I appreciate that. So thank you very much for joining us, Peter. I hope you will come on again and share some more of your very useful information. Very useful. But in the meantime, until you join us next time, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet under the username @Petrus_Aquinas, Petrus_Aquinas, almost everywhere. You can @ me and I might say something.
It could be. It might be added. We're breaking them in ever so slowly.
There we go. And of course on Code 47.
And of course,
yes, and on Code 47. You can find me there.
Yes. Peter is my my lifelong, hopefully, companion over on Code 47. We also record with Katie Pershin. We come out every other week, and we enjoy that very much. You can, of course, find me over on Twitter @the_C3. Spell it on out. Can be found at most socials that way at all. Instagram, occasionally TikTok, maybe, definitely Facebook. I also fill up our Secret Friends United Facebook feed with content. So that's usually me. My wife April and I, along with Peter, are all senior staff members over at the USS Grand Petoskey. That is the preeminent Michigan chapter of the Star Trek International Fan Club. You can find us on the website of that name and across socials. All over the place. If you love Trek, we're the place to be. Come find us. Pretty please.
And you can find me at _Canardian pretty much everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Find us there. And of course, join us on Discord. Subscribe over to the YouTube channel. If you're not watching this video, you have to go check the video out just to see Peter in his dark, menacing robes in the throne room. That is worth that. Click the subscribe button right there.
Yes, indeed.
Unlimited power.
I need to get better at effects. I need to add lightning to your video there.
Crackle.
Fantastic. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you. Rex, play us out. This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.